officially summer vacation season, finally. But can you imagine taking a family of six, overseas for a trip to Europe?
I can imagine it, and I can imagine what it would do to my bank account as well. You could do it if your airfare was next to nothing, and you could stay in castles for next to nothing. Dale and Michelle Bartlett are travel authors and experts who have figured out how to do that, and I think we've already got a lot of people's attention right now. You've traveled all over the world. You've been able to do it on a budget, so give us some examples of the types of trips you've been able to take and the budgets associated with those.
Well, first of all, if we look at maybe one of our trips to Hawaii, airfare $5 round trip, free hotel on the beach, Marriott. Then you take and you eliminate your car rental possibly and other types of big expenses, and you've got a vacation that now a family can afford. We're about $200 a person when we go to Hawaii.
That's $200 a person?
Yeah. So that includes airfare, hotels, food.
Don't rub it in because Brooke's never been to Hawaii yet. So.
Now you can go.
For $200 bucks, I think I could go for more than one time a year.
And we've been to Europe for about $2,500 for all six of us.
Not per person. That's
not per person. That includes the airfare, the hotels, the food, rental car, entertainment, and everything. In fact, on the 20th of this month, we're actually headed to Prague and Vienna and Italy, and our flights just for this were around $90 each.
What?
I know.
Oh, my word. Okay, you've got our attention, assuming you're doing this all legally, which I know you are. You're going to help us save now. Okay, you're going to help us save. Let's start with the airfare. How do you get it for free or close to free?
Okay. The best way to do free airfare is to eliminate that big cost. Trips to Europe, we're saving about $10,000 just on our airfare alone. So that's a big chunk out of the budget, travel budget. So we're utilizing the frequent flyer miles that the airlines provide. Now most people say, well, I don't fly. Well, that's okay. You don't. Most air miles are actually done on the ground. We utilize the Delta American Express. That's really what we recommend here in Utah, because Delta is just such a big hub here. We have the ability now to use our groceries to get miles, our gas, all of those types of things. So instead of going to the grocery store and writing a check, we use our miles card. Now what we do to not accumulate debt is we immediately go home, go online, and you pay it off as you go, just like you would normally. But you're getting all the miles. We will average, and if I travel, and I do travel occasionally, I'll get about 2,000 miles a month traveling in the air. We'll get between 18 and 20,000 miles a month just by using this technique of utilizing, changing the way that we buy things. Also, there's partners all over that provide you with miles. Netflix, cell phone companies, flower companies. Go onto Delta's site and you'll see a tremendous amount of partners that you may already be using. You might as well get the miles for it.
Right. Okay, so we've learned a little bit there. What's this cookie trap that we're talking about avoiding here?
And there's no calories involved in this one, which is great. Search engines very often remember, not very often, actually all the time, they remember what you've searched for. And so if you search a certain price, for instance, on one site, and then you go to another, and then you want to go back to the first original site, it will remember what you searched for and what price they gave you, and they will actually give you a more expensive price, which creates urgency. So then you think, I better get it because prices are going up. So if you clear your cookies on your internet browser, it won't remember that. So you need to remember to do that.
Go to internet properties again. That's where you clear out the cookies.
Correct. Yeah.
And just do that before you start searching.
Before you start searching again, because they're designed to create that urgency. Oh, airfare is going up. I've got to buy now. And yet that maybe a $200 airfare was still there, but now it's showing $250.
Is there a better time of day to buy tickets online?
There is. Very often business travelers will look during the daytime. So that's a busier time. Most people will look then also. So if you look at midnight or around midnight, a lot of airlines will actually bring the prices down a little bit, and also they will dump if they have extra flights that they can't get rid of or they're not selling fast enough, they'll dump those around that time period. So it's a great time to look.
Yeah, and speaking of times when you travel, and not just during in terms of the time of the week or the days of the week, but the shoulder season, right? Isn't
Correct. There's everybody knows the off season is when nobody wants to travel. Everybody knows the peak season, that's when everybody is traveling. But there's that shoulder season in between. It's usually about March, beginning of April, and then in October. And that's when the airfares go down, not quite as much as in the off-peak time, but they go down almost to that level. But the weather's a whole lot better. So instead of spending a winter in England, you can spend kind of a spring and a fall at that time, and it's a whole lot cheaper at that.
Well, you also point out being flexible on destinations and arrivals can save in the long run by checking those nearby airports and seeing what's available.
Correct. We now have Frontier Airlines flying out of Provo Airport. A lot of people don't know that. And it's not that much further to Provo. You check that flights because they're trying to build that up, and so the flights are actually very cheap. We're looking for flights between Salt Lake City and Dallas. They were about, I think about $450 round trip. Out of Boise, it was $297. You save $150, and all it takes is a Southwest airfare to get up to Boise. The return flight from Dallas actually stops in Salt Lake. You just take your bags, don't check them, just take your bags, carry on, and walk off the flight, and you'll have to take that last flight. Okay. So that just saved you $100.
Now we've talked about the flights, but once you're there, you have to find a place to stay, and that can be very expensive. So what are some of your secrets? Especially you've been over to Italy, or you've booked a trip to Italy. How do you work in free lodging at some of these places?
We found this beautiful restored farmhouse up in the hills of Tuscany. It's about 600 years old or so, through a home exchange site. So a lot of people are not really comfortable with that. So we actually designed homespunhospitality.com, which will have home exchanges for those that are okay, where they can exchange homes at the same time.
So we're talking about the Holiday, Cameron Diaz, and
everybody
how they switch homes. That's my only point of reference is people really do that.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
It's huge. If you search home exchange on the internet, you will have thousands and thousands of sites that connect people, but a lot of people aren't really comfortable with home exchange. Am I going to let a stranger stay in my home?
Right.
We developed on our Homespun Hospitality Exchange site an hospitality exchange where people then host you, and you can go and stay with that family. I'm telling you, this is the best way to immerse yourself into the people.
So they're still in the home.
They are.
You're just a
They've
visitor.
just provided room and for a few nights for you to stay. It's kind of like couch surfing, but for grown-ups and for families.
And then you return the favor.
Yeah.
Yes,
I've done 2 home exchanges, and it's been perfect.
It's incredible. It's the best way to do it. And you're eliminating, for 3 weeks in Europe, you'll eliminate $6,000 in your cost there. So you eliminate $10,000 in your airfare, $6,000 in your accommodations, and now you've got a trip you can afford.
If it ends up the same way the movie ended up, then I'll sign up for that in a second. 2 handsome guys. Okay, thanks you both for stopping in. Great tips, great tips.
Thank you.
All right, and Dale and Michelle have also written a couple of books on traveling with kids. So the brand new one highlights day trips from Salt Lake. You can find out more on their website. Have Kids, Will Travel. We'll, of course, link you there from the Studio 5 website as well. All right, coming up next, we're giving away a romantic lodge getaway for 2. Stay tuned to find out how to win.